Thank you very much, Nick, and thank the entire SMWW staff for putting this Doc Talk on. And thank all of you for coming in. We'll have more coming in. We had a lot sign up regarding the world of soccer, the business side of soccer. I'm very proud of our company. It's a 30-year-old company. Started with one student, dial up Yahoo. Today we have over 30,000 alums from 164 different countries, 40 some courses. We do all sports. But let's face it, soccer is the beginning and still is the largest sport in the world. Growing up in Kansas City, not understanding it, not being exposed to it, and can't wait till the World Cup coming up here next summer in North America. I always say sports is a weapon of mass construction. It's a substitute for war. Sports is so important to the world. And I appreciate all of you coming in to listen more about soccer and the soccer agent world and how you can break into soccer and get paid for your passion. We'll go to questions with Maikel, but please get your questions ready. This is about you. Every Sunday, I do a Sunday Doc Talk. Been doing it for 30 years. You get a lifetime membership in that to ask questions, meet your colleagues all over the world. We say get paid for your passion, adrenalize today and monetize tomorrow, and that's what we're going to do. Maikel, I want to welcome you in, my good friend and colleague, and you're going to have to go through the same test that I put everybody through. Assuming you went to high school, tell us your story, Maikel.
Well, high school, I got recruited at a very young age, at 12,
Wow.
back home in Holland. So I was privileged to go through the Dutch Youth Academy for soccer, for football, for some of you guys that are not here in the US.
Yeah.
Was able to go through that for about 9 years. And then, I had an opportunity to go overseas, are overseas in Spain. And then migrated here to the US, and that was in 2004. And then what happened in 2004, I played a little bit, here in the US as well, and I decided to go back to school. A very well-known player decided to come here in the US. This really disrupted the whole, soccer industry here in a good way. So it was time for me to, there was no room for a low-level player like myself back in the
Yeah.
day. I
Yeah.
ended up going back to school and ended up studying in business and management.
Yeah.
Went to school in Kansas, actually, Lynn,
Yeah.
in Iola, Kansas,
Yeah.
at a community college. After 2 years, I decided to go to further my education in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And here we are,
Yeah.
still back
Yeah.
here.
Maikel, growing up in Kansas City, soccer wasn't part of anything growing up in the Midwest, and to watch Lamar Hunt, the founder of the American Football League, the owner of the Chiefs, who brought Major League Soccer to America, the first time the World Cup was here, etc., it didn't have the impact it's going to have. Talk about the opportunities this time around in North America hosting the World Cup. What do you anticipate? Because many students in here want to work in soccer, whether it's scouting or agent. We'll get into the different roles, but let's talk about where soccer is today, and let's specifically talk about North America. What's going to happen next summer or this
Well, it's
summer?
still the fastest growing sport in the
Yeah,
US, right? Minus
yeah.
pickleball, if you consider that a sport. Okay. No, I hope I didn't offend anybody. But so there's a lot of opportunity here. Whether you want to work at an academy level, I mean,
Yeah,
there's academies that Major League Soccer
yes,
are now
yeah,
trying to, you know, create the same landscape as
yeah,
the European leagues in terms of academies,
yeah,
right? So they're
yeah,
growing and they start
yeah.
creating more partnerships with
Right.
local teams. So I mean, the opportunities are huge. Especially if you want to become an agent, if you want to, they're getting recruited at a younger age right now. Obviously, there are some rules and regulations attached to that. But working with academies, it's very
Yeah,
lucrative. You know.
yeah. Mikhail, tell me this, and that we have North American here, and we have people all over the world, but let's talk about the soccer identification. Talk about your course. We have several courses you teach in soccer, and talk about both of them. We're not here to sell anything today, but I want them to know what we try to do to get people in the ecosystem. Talk a little bit about what
Right.
they're going to learn from Mikhail, because I'm proud of the growth of our program. I can't wait to talk about our convention and our soccer conference, if I may, at Coachella Valley. But talk about what you try to teach students that come to your ecosystem of soccer business.
Right. So the soccer talent identification course, it's really how you can create a pathway from an academy player all the way up to become until the player becomes make minutes in the first team, right? The soccer GM and scouting course, management scouting course, is really a course, what's going on in the front offices in most pro teams, how scout works, and then we have, of course, our soccer analytics course with Danielle Prescott. By the way, our soccer GM and scouting course taught by Gordon Kleshchin and Vasily. I mean, they're two incredible instructors. Gordon being the senior VP for the Galaxy and player personnel and soccer operations. Great resource to have right there. And then we have our FIFA agent prep course, and it's really trying to prepare you to take the FIFA exam. And then the soccer agent course is really how to do the business as a soccer agent, how to recruit, how to promote, what would be the steps you need to take, the 4 pillars, what could be a good fit, marketing and branding, etc.
Right. Yeah. Maikel, help me on this because it's such a global game. Let's go back to the new transfer portal and what's going on in America right now, NIL and transfer portal, and what the impact that's going to be on soccer recruiting, if I may, because you're watching it. I know we got so many levels. We got Major League Soccer. We got the Europe. We got everything out there. So many stages. There's a place to play somewhere in the world. But talk about the impact of college transfer portal, NIL in America, the impact it's had on our ecosystem.
Right. The transfer portal for men and women's soccer is it's a busy period for college soccer, right? The NIL, it's really more for women's soccer. I mean, that's the market just speaks for itself there. And I think it's growing within men's soccer at the collegiate level. But I mean, it's again, it's opportunity.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunity.
Maikel, talk about, in your opinion, what you're seeing going on, and we'll take your questions because this is about asking Maikel questions. Not only is he a professional athlete, he's a successful agent in the soccer world. What's the difference, Maikel, if I may, an agent versus a scout and the opportunities of breaking in? Because I see an incredible growth of the exposure of soccer. There's 8 billion people out there, and I really think the soccer with its foundation, there's talent all over the world. Talk about that identification of talent.
Well, for me personally, I have great relationship with scouts, and really, because at the end of the day, my opinion as an agent, if I go to a coach and say, hey, you know what, I have the next Messi, I think he's phenomenal. And then the coach 9 out of 10 coach will tell me, hey, get in line. There's like 10 more other coaches, tell me the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Now, if my relationship with the scout and then the scout goes to the coach itself, and then, because that's more of a reason for him to listen, that is an opinion that matters to the coach, right? So for us to be, as agents, we have to be scouts at the same time. We're not just going to sign a player without having a look at him or her. So they're very close. It's a very close relationship. Absolutely.
Maikel, we have analytics in the world all over the sports, baseball, football, basketball. Tell me about the impact of analytics in soccer, the challenges of analytics in soccer, and identifying the it factor. I'm just curious because I'm just fascinated because soccer's ahead of the curve. I give the NFL a lot of credit for what they're doing, playing in Brazil, and they're going to go to Australia next year. And Lamar Hunt gets it. He saw what soccer did around the world. Everybody's trying to catch up with soccer, and they're doing it, whether it's NBA Europe, whether it's the NFL or flag football. But let's talk about identification of talent and analytics and how the impact of that has been on the next great Pele, if I may, or Messi, if I may.
Right. Well, analytics it's become a huge factor in soccer or football, right? For all of our agents that are here right now, if you have a client that's currently signed with a pro team, minutes equals currency. So the more minutes statistically the player makes, the more valuable he becomes, right? For other teams. Now, analytics could be also, opposite team analysis. It could also be what kind of system you play or what kind of system are you trying to play against, right? So, I mean, analytics has become such a, Y Scout, Instat. There's just so many ways to
Yeah.
have access to actual player, like a player pool. If you get a player presented and you don't really know much about the player, but the player is somewhere in South America and is playing in a higher enough league where he or she might be a Y scout, that's how you're going to
Yeah.
be able to identify some of these players.
Yeah. Maikel, you're an agent, and how did you step into the agent? Before Sports Management Worldwide, we have a system in place. We have a course. We have an agent advisor program. We have co-representation. I went from athletic director to being a sports agent because I had Jerry Rice's agent as my mentor. Talk about how you broke in, how you got in, and what we do to help people become an agent. Because one client and you have a business, if I may. But talk about you breaking in the agent world, and then what we try to do to help facilitate that.
Yeah, well, throughout my career, I was able to create some great relationships. And when I moved to the US, I and started to work in soccer. One of the players, maybe some of you guys heard of him, his name is Rafael van der Vaart. So me and his agent played together for many years, and but he stayed back in Holland, and he
Yeah.
reached out to me. He's like, hey, this might be a unconventional question, but we need Rafael is interested in playing in the US in Major League Soccer, and do you have some connections? And I so happened one of my former teammates here in the US was actually at the time director of soccer operations at Real Salt Lake. So I got the parties together and started really enjoying it. And actually, one of the members of Real Salt Lake actually had taken a course with SMWW, and he's like, well, you got to, this is something you really need to do because you have already those relationships. There could be something, and personally, I had some bad experience with my agents. I had two agents total, and one of them was a great experience, and one of them was terrible.
Right.
So yeah, that's how I got into the business, and just developed more relationships, and here we are.
Maikel, you'll appreciate this, but when I got started the first year, I knew a lot of people through my athletic director and academic advisory world, but I left a brochure in Louisville to an undrafted free agent named Ralph Dawkins, who was never going to be drafted, and therefore we weren't going to put a lot of money into it. But we did finally meet with him. We happened to be down in the Orange Bowl, and his uncle said, well, Ralph has a younger brother named Brian who's a freshman at Clemson. And I always talk about the Ralph rule, but if you get Ralph out of Louisville, you might get Brian out of Clemson. Maikel, talk about referrals in your industry because it's a big world out there, particularly soccer. And you have a unique background, and everybody in the room has a unique background, and both culture and location. But talk about referrals in the business when you're successful.
Well, when you do right by one of your clients, and whether they go through thick and thin, they go through ups and downs, and you stick by them, and then they have one of their teammates, they're in need of an agent or coming through the college system, and they're reaching out, hey, how's your agent? If you do good by those kids, it's extremely important. But also work with other agents. Why not? Right? I mean, it's if I could do this all over again, I would have collaborated with a lot more agents. 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Maikel, I got to be honest with you. I'm seeing something. Nobody knows the player than if you're an agent from Nigeria and you have a Nigerian player, whether they play at University of Washington or whatever, but nobody knows the player than those in the culture. I also wanted to ask you the idea of the not just the strategy. I think now with NIL, a student, a very good soccer player can come to America, get an education. I think the lifting of the NIL and the visa requirements is coming quickly with the revolution going on and transfer portal. But talk about the personal relationship and the relationship after the player has retired. Talk about that relationship too, because we take a lot of pride in what are you going to do after you play, and instead of just representing him and doing a contract. Talk about the long term.
Well, the long-term deal is what you see a lot about when, and that was my personal experience as well. Once I was done playing soccer, my agent never picked up his phone ever again. Right. So, and it's really also, because we all know we all have played a sport, whether it be football, baseball, I mean, your career can be over tomorrow. Something can happen in practice. You have a career-ending injury, or what's next. So being able to guide and also plan for your clientele's future,
Yeah.
it is really important. And understanding, hey, you know what, this
Yeah.
is, we have to, it's an uncomfortable conversation to have, right? But hey, let's put some things in
Yeah.
place where, if things do happen, let's make
Yeah.
sure that you're going to be taken care of.
So I have being an agent for 30 years, particularly in American football, I always say you have to play your way to the next level. Talk about the ecosystem of opportunity and not just the USL in America, but talk about knowing where a person can play and move up the ladder than just hang on and make phone calls, because you're very strategic with that and you're very connected around the world. Talk about the ecosystem of different leagues and different levels around the world where there's opportunity for an athlete to make money in some parts of the world, even though they grew up in the States and they always wanted to play in the MLS. Talk about that ecosystem.
Well, you also got to be, some brutally honest with some of these clients, right? You got to
Yeah.
let them know, hey, this might be a little bit too high of a reach, but let's take a detour. Let's go a
Yeah.
lower, let's start at a lower level where because you may not have a lot of experience but you are very talented. Let's get you started at a lower league and let's move up from there. Now, teams right now in today's market, they're starting to recruit at a very young age. Even at
Right.
college level players right now,
Right.
they're already like 5-6 years behind of some of those academy kids that are coming up to the to become pro,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So they're starting to recruit at younger and younger, like kids.
Right.
They're starting making their debut at the age of 15. I mean, we had a
No,
kid
it's a
from
tough.
Arsenal,
And if you don't know the
oh,
family,
in the Premier
yeah.
League.
Let's go to Jason, who has a question. Jason, come in with your introduction, and thanks for coming in with your question. Go ahead, Jason.
What's up, Jason?
Hey guys, so my background was in pro sport, elite youth sport, now working as a technical lead for a state association
Where are
uh,
you located?
in Burlington, Vermont.
Good to have you in. Thanks. Let's go with your question to Maikel. Thank you, Jason.
Sure, yeah, the all I would like to know is what you would consider best practices when representing players, and is it
Good job.
primarily player placement, talent ID, talent development, exit strategies for when they stop playing, things of that nature?
Yeah, so when you first recruit, I mean, building relationship is everything, right? If they're comfortable with you, because they're going to sign their life, their career over to you. So being able to create that relationship is really important. Make sure transparency is key, right? Don't overpromise and underdeliver, because that's how your career ends at a very, very short, in a very, very short way. So the best practice when you start recruiting, be transparent and let them know, hey, I'm going to do my best to get you where you need to be, where you want to be. But it's not going to be an easy road, right? And as long
Yeah.
as you guys create those guidelines,
Yeah.
and within the contract as well,
Yeah.
and that's where a lot of times new agents fail, because they
Yeah.
say, oh, I can get you there, I can get you there, oh, I can get you to play in England. Well, no, you can, because there's rules and regulations attached to it, because their work permit
Yeah.
criteria, you don't even qualify for that, right? So
Yeah.
that's why as agents we have to
Yeah.
understand, okay, what can we do overseas, what can we do overseas when we do recruit. So
Right.
continuing education, Jason, is extremely important,
And
and
Jason, we excuse me, Maikel, but Jason, we have an agent advisor program. Once you take the course, we have a meeting every week. Adam does American football, Maikel does soccer. So you can bring your questions and continue to grow with that client. We team up to help you grow instead of just throwing you out there. Good luck. You took the course and now you're ready. I think but there's a lot of people in the room who could be very successful agents. It's about relationships, knowledge, and integrity. You always play your way to the next level, but we have a pretty expertise ecosystem to go with that. You keep your day job, and all of a sudden you got a couple clients, and you're adding a revenue to your monthly bill, and you're having some fun. Jason, anything else before I go to Nick? Not our Nick, but another Nick.
No, no, all good. You guys can move on. Thank you.
Okay, thanks,
thanks.
Jake. Let's
Jason,
go to
I know
Nick.
you're one of my guys, so I'll reach out to
Okay.
you, Jason.
Okay, thanks. Let's go to Nick. Nick, come in with your introduction. Not my Nick, the other Nick. Come on, Nick. Okay, let's go to Lewis then. Louis, come on in. Nick, we got a man on the moon. You got to be able to unmute yourself. Nick or Louis Castillo, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Michael, Lynn. Well, actually, I know a little bit about your
Introduce
career,
yourself.
Michael. My name is Luis. I'm from Guatemala. I actually work in a football agency right here. I'm the scout director right here. My job is to find talents in Guatemala. I also have Greek nationality. I can speak Greek. I'm here because one of my best friends is a baseball scout. He works with the Mariners. So he told me, hey, you
Yeah.
should go listen to this football. I don't want to say football. I know you guys call it soccer, but for me, it's
We're
football.
Spanish, right?
Potatoes, potatoes.
Yeah.
So, but something that really catch my attention is that you said about if around regarding about analytics, because I already finished my second master using Python in football. I'm now in my third master regarding using big data as scouting with the Sporada campus with the Sevilla club, which you know Monchi is the best person regarding using data. So my question for you, Michael, is how often or how it's getting bigger using the analytics, using Python, using Power BI, all the dashboards in football, since it help you to lower the risks to hire or to make contracts with future talents in
Good
soccer,
question.
in soccer or in football. How
Yeah.
often it's going to be in the future? Right now, in the future, that's my question.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be huge. It's gonna be very
Yeah.
you know, data on players in all sports across the board is going to be hugely important.
Yeah.
Whether it be, I mean, you see all the players right now, they're wearing trackers as well, right? So
Yes.
for medical reasons, for a lot of other reasons as well. And I think, you know, to your point, you know, there's only one way to continue, you know, collecting those data and being able to present your client for a club. Hey, you know what? These are his numbers. This is where he excels in. This is where he may need some work in. And you know, with that tracker that they're wearing, you can I mean, you can write a whole book about a client, really,
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
where he or she plays on the pitch. So it is the data is
Yeah.
becoming extremely important.
Right. Before we go to Whitney, Luis, I want you to know what we do with all our sports. Everybody has a brother and a sister, and there's referrals in baseball or American football. And whatever the referral is, that's your client, and we'll bring the resources for representation. It's 90% relationships in the business. I don't care what sport you're in, the agent. Maikel will agree with that. And we really have a referral family, and many of the agent advisors team up with each other. One comes from the culture of the original the athlete born and raised, and the other where the athlete's playing. That's one of the new metrics that's going out there with ours. Let's go to Whitney with your introduction and question or comment. Whitney, thanks for coming in.
Hi, yes, my name is Whitney. I'm a recent graduate from Louisiana State University, and I'm currently working with Loyola in their athletic department. My question was, since soccer is really like a global business, what would you say are the key cultural and regional differences you think professionals should understand when working across international markets?
Good question, because I get in
The
arguments every day that someday America is going to win the World Cup, and all my non-Americans say, ha ha ha. So I don't have any friends. So I love your question. Maikel, you get to answer it with your international background.
Yeah, growing up in Holland, you know, there was only a few sports you could play. You know, we have,
Yeah.
you know, ice skating was really important, field hockey and soccer, right? So here you have just so many more options to play. Um, Culturally, that is a huge I don't want to say issue, but if as parents, you know, you put your kid in football, baseball, soccer,
Yeah.
judo. I mean, the list goes on and on, right? Where you can't excel just in one sport, you're going to be excelling in multiple sports. So, in back home in Holland, it was just soccer, and that's all I knew. You know, I practice every day, and that was just ingrained. You know, in myself. Now, we didn't have the opportunity to, you know, partake in different sports unless, you know, you go to high school and you have PE. But yeah, that's a big difference, and
Yeah.
that's why,
Yeah.
you know, some of these academies that are now being,
Yeah.
you know, added on in most MLS, clubs, you can see a shift.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we still have a long way to go, but it's there. They're making
Yeah.
they're making a honest push.
And Whitney, I want to commend you. We urge all our students that they can go and work in the athletic department. That's a degree in itself. The tragedy is a sports management degree from professors that are not really business, or they've not been in the locker room. You're getting an incredible experience. You've got a very bright future, whether it's representation, whatever. I so admire you for that. Do you have a follow up before I go to Primo?
No, that'll be all. Thank you.
Good to have you. Let's go to Primo in Botswana. Primo, welcome in, my good friend.
Hello, Doc. Hello,
How you
Mikael.
doing?
Hello, everybody. It's midnight here, so
But you're dedicated,
take this.
right?
Of course, I am. Can't look back,
Go
Doc. Thanks.
go global or go home, right?
Yes, that's how it is. You know it, man. That's what it
Okay,
is.
go
Thank
ahead with
you.
your question. Good to have you in
Great.
tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Mikael, listen, I would like to understand something. Like maybe let us in on how do we get about structuring evaluation for an athlete? Like for us here, for example, we've had cases where people just come and exploit us because we don't have a lot that's to back up our story. So how would you advise somebody like this is what you have to get
Great
through
question.
to get evaluation for an athlete
Great
or
question.
for
Yeah,
Great
so
question.
I usually use my four corners, my four pillars. When I meet with a client, I want to know, I already detected you're talented, you're great on the pitch. I can see what your strengths are, but how are you off the pitch? Okay. What are some things that you could change, or when it comes down to marketability, when it comes down to social media? I mean, social media is a killer or a dream catcher, right? It's not, there's no gray area. So I would like to know the family. What's the family issue life like? Are you coming, are you an upcoming parent, or are you still living at home? How is your interaction with your parents?
Yeah.
I think that's really important to understand, the thorough background, because if the player is at a younger age, you want to have the relationship with the parents, with the family, right?
Yeah.
If it's he or she is old enough to go on their own, you still want to make sure that the decisions off the field
Right.
are
Yeah.
well are with good intentions, right? Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Maikel. I wanted to add something.
Yeah, I mean, in my career as an agent, I've come across different scopes of life as representing clients, and where I had to jump on a plane to put out a fire, right? And it's purely because social media could be an enemy, right? But if you've Primo apply for a job today and you get hired, or you go through the interview process, and then they found something on your social media, Facebook or whatever, something 10 years ago, that could still hunt you until today. So I always want to make sure that, hey, make sure your clients or your future clients, hey, nothing is going to come bite them in the butt, because clubs in today's market, they're going to look at that.
Right. Yeah. Maikel, I go back. We're going to go to Carrie next. And Carrie, thanks for coming in. But Maikel, I really go back to the footprint around the world. Nick's assisting me in growing a global ambassador program where we have 206 representatives around the world, just like the same number of bones in the body. But we really believe that cultures are all different, and it has an impact on choosing a player. And it's hard for you to read a certain player from a different country without being able to talk to somebody on the ground there. And that's why I think our concept, just like Uber versus taxi, is still going to win the day. I know we're a young company, we got a small footprint, but it isn't rocket science. But identifying talent and being able to give good advice is important, not just after they're, they have a career afterwards. Many of them are going to coach or do something else. And I think we owe them more than just placing them in to make money. But what are they going to do after their career? Let's go to Carrie with your introduction. Carrie, thanks for coming in. Unmute yourself, Carrie.
Can you hear me now?
Carrie, is that you in the background?
Yes, that's me in the background.
I love it.
Yes, my name is Kerry Skeppel. I'm from Antigua and Barbuda. I've taken the soccer agent course with SMWW back in 2018 and
Wow.
been successful in it. But to date, I have
Thank
not.
you.
To date, I have not ventured into that aspect of the gamers yet. But now I'm really thinking and considering to go that way. So my question is, going into this field, what is the best way to approach getting, if I should say, my feet wet in terms of representing players, and what is the most important factor to look at while going into this new venture now that I've, settled down a little bit because I had much going on. I'm currently doing
Sure.
university, trying to get my bachelor's degree in physical education, and I'm thinking about doing my master's in sports psychology. So I'm thinking now, after such a long playing career, I've been exposed, I've been coaching at youth level, I've seen the whole scope of players developing into top players. And to date, I've I've had like 3 or 4 players that I've sent off for trials over in Germany. And currently 2 of them is playing in the German Bundesliga at U19s level. So now I've 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 got the ability to develop and expose and explore. So now I'm thinking about these players that I'm developing, sending out, and other people are benefiting, knowing that
Yeah.
I've had some
Right.
experience through the soccer agent course. So now I'm thinking to shift my focus now into representation of these players. What are some advice that you can give to me now
Right.
that can put
Mik-
me into that
Yeah, Maikel, talk about how we monetize, an agent advisor can monetize those relationships. I think that's a very important. Carrie, I'm so proud of you, but you're putting a lot of work in, and it's time to monetize. There's nothing wrong monetizing your delivery of what you're doing and helping young people. But there's a business side to this. We want everybody to be able to monetize this. Go ahead, Maikel.
Yeah, and I think you've built already the relationships, and then in Germany, right? So when you already have a successful story, right, in that aspect, calling coaches or clubs, they will answer your call, right? Especially when you have that relationship already in Germany, at the U19 at the Bundesliga level. And it's it's a tough market even in Germany, right? If you think about it, right? It's not an easy league to get in unless you are really talented or you have somebody that's going to be able to make a difference on the pitch. So really my advice to you is, have a mentor with you, somebody that's been doing this for years. We do offer mentorship program. Carrie, so you took our course. I think you took it with John.
Yes. John Pritt and
Yeah.
Scott and Juice.
Yeah. So why don't we do this? I will send you an email, okay, and then we'll have a conversation about
Okay,
it.
I'll
Because I think
really
you really need to use what you already know, right?
Yeah.
Your network that you already have. And here's the thing: one of the reasons why former players are successful in representing players because you've been in their shoes
Yeah,
before.
I've been in the shoes before because
So
I've played professionally over in Finland for a couple of years. So that
Yeah.
European experience is very much ingrained. So
Mhm.
as I said, because of that exposure that I had
Yeah.
in the European market, I was able to navigate and know exactly what the players need to get there.
Right.
So
Yeah.
with that experience, and I really appreciate that if we can,
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
together and make a way to
Yeah.
this.
We'll connect.
And Kerry Adams going to stay in after this to explain how we work, but we're not interested in selling courses and get you to take an agent course and good luck to you. We want you to monetize. You're bringing an impact to people's lives, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch. And you have a unique situation. The globalization, as Maikel will tell you, the opportunity, if you can't play here, you can play there. There's so many different ecosystems out there. It's crazy what's going on. And I think we're developing an expertise and a footprint. Some of you get your masters. We have a master's also, but there's job opportunities at universities with your background. Some people want you to be able to teach the agent course, et cetera, or compliance. But there's so many opportunities, and we'll be a mentor. And remember, we do a Sunday chat for 30 years. We get 30 some people in all over the world. Some will be about soccer, some will be American football, some will be basketball, some will be NIL, some will be analytics, but we're all talking and we're learning from each other. And that's what's beautiful. And it's such a thrill to have you in here, Carrie. Maikel, any final thoughts before we pass the mic to Adam about how our company works? Your final thoughts of and let's go to Barrett. Barrett, do you have a question before we get started? I'm good to have you. You raise that hand and we'll get you in. We're not in a hurry to leave. But we're not going to sit here and bore you. Nobody's going to fall asleep in my chat. And I was worried you're falling asleep, Barrett. So go ahead with your
name's Barrett. Your name looks familiar. You've been in the business. You've been in the business.
No, I haven't actually, and that's kind of the issue here. Yeah. But so for me, huh?
Who are you?
Yeah. So my background, I played semi-professional football a little bit out in Gibraltar, Spain, and Germany for a little bit. And unfortunately, I wasn't good enough to actually get representation or anything. Looking back, I'm like, yeah, no one. So I don't have that experience coming from kind of where you are, where you're like, you have that experience with someone being an agent, basically. But anyways, so after that, came back to the United States. I ended up building and selling a company, and now moving to Barcelona to get a master's degree in football management, basically.
Okay.
Is it the Johan Cruyff?
Yes, sir, it is.
My man.
Okay. Oh yeah. Well, just real good, or
the Johan Cruyff Academy is one of the best. It's one of the best schooling.
Nice. Okay. God, I'm about to leave. I'm glad that you're. Anyways, all right. Sorry. All right. So, what's like the current trends in the United States for youth sports? Are people getting recruited to be, or like how young are people being recruited these days? And also, are there any analytical tools for those people getting recruited?
Good question.
So analytical tools for academy players would be directly with the club, right? With whether it be the Galaxy, whether it be the Union. Well, if you look at some of the young kids that are being recruited, I mean, you have Sullivan, right, who is 15 years old, who already signed a contract with Man City that he will be going to Man City when he turns 18, right? So it's there, right? So but it's also, as agents, how do we capitalize on it? Well, Calvin Sullivan, he had a brother who's also playing pro, so the agent was already like kind of grandfathered into him. Yeah. Good for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. They're getting recruited at a younger.
Even in the United States right now, because I remember when I was playing. Oh, really? Okay.
I remember Sullivan, right? He's
fair enough.
I mean, he's one of the top young kids. I had a kid named Ibanez. He was with the Galaxy, and then we got him to move to Wolfsburg. Alex Mendes, we got him to move to Ajax Amsterdam, and they were all like under 18, right? Or about 18 years old. So yeah.
Okay.
Garrett, also with NIL, we have an NIL course now, but it's impossible not to talk to juniors in high school. They some states allow NIL, and then transfer portal. I don't want a corporate agency telling me I shouldn't go to SMU if I already got 2 clients there. There's a lot going on. Barrett, it'd be fun to work with you. It's a thrill to have you in.
Real quick, also, Barrett,
go ahead, Maikel.
The younger players, their stats, the analytical stats, because they're underage, they cannot be publicly. So work with the with a club directly. Then you'll have access to all the database, right? If you are involved in it. But you're gonna go to the Johan Cruyff school of football. So man, good for you, man. You're gonna
We'd love to work with you any way we can. It's a thrill to have you. And let's go to Richmond with your introduction.
Thank you, gents.
Questions for Maikel. Richmond, come on in. Do you have a bad hair day?
Hello?
I don't know. Hey, come on in.
Yeah, go global or go home. But I wanted to go global, so that's why I joined SMWW. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Where are
Doctor,
you located?
my name is Richmond from Atlanta, USA, but
Okay.
originally from Ghana, West Africa.
Okay.
And this course has been my dream since, about 10 years ago. I had wanted to do this, but where and how? And how will I start? But thank God I met SMWW and I'm glad. And I just signed on board. So, Maikel, I'll be in your class very soon, September 22nd. I will see you there. I have so many questions to ask you, sir. I can't wait. This is a dream come true. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Well, looking
Guys-
forward to seeing class.
Yeah, drive safely. We don't want the camera on when you're driving. We don't want to be part of that deal. Maikel, any closing comments before I get? Thank you, Richmond. Maikel, any closing comments to our
Yes.
group before I go to Adam?
One of the main things that we need to do as agents that I tell, my advice to you guys is start networking. Networking is something, you're as good as your network, right? If your network is small, guess what? Your business is going to be small. If your network is going to be big, guess what? Your business is going to be big. Same thing with agents, anything you do in life, right? So start recruiting or start networking. Go to football games, go to academy games, go start introducing yourself. Hey, you know what? I'm potentially in the process of obtaining my soccer agent license, right? So network, Luis, network, it is the key, right? And it's also at that point is who you know in this business. Okay. So my advice to you guys, start networking already. If you haven't done so.
Yeah. Maikel, thank you so much for what you do for our company in the career counseling department, the analytics, the agent. We're lucky to have you. It's an exciting year. We're going to have a conference in January at
In
Coachella
February, it's
Valley.
going to be in Coachella Valley, guys. So
In
part
February,
of networking.
and we'll get all that. Let's go to Adam. Adam, come on in, and thanks for coming in to help us out today to answer any final questions. What a fun day this has been.
Yeah, thanks for having me. My name is Adam Klemick. I've been with the company for 10 years. I recognize a lot of names in here, including Carrie and Deep. Deep is one of my regulars in the agent advisor program that I host on Wednesday nights. So let me clarify right away. I'm American, so when I say football, I mean American football. And when I say soccer, that's what a lot of you probably refer to as football or so. Anyways, just wanted to go over a few brief descriptions of our courses, what they do for you, and how we can help you out if you are interested in starting a career in sports. All of our courses are 8-week online programs. You have live Zoom calls with your instructors / mentors during the week. Depending on the course, those vary in times. Most of them all take place in the evenings, though. If you're unable to make them, they're all recorded and archived, and you get sent that. And then you have direct contact to your instructors via email and or phone. And we have anything from analytics to scouting to sports media, broadcasting. So there's just a lot of options out there. Me personally, I have a background to where I started with our athlete management course. After I graduated from that, my very first year, I got a football player that went to rookie camp with the Dallas Cowboys. And ever since then, I've represented over 11 players in the National Football League. So like was mentioned before, I run the agent advisor program on Wednesdays. But what's great about our course is, and what I love telling people is that all of our instructors, just like Maikel, are professionals and very well respected in the industry. And the great thing is that after you complete our courses, you can use the instructors as references. And a lot of things we do after you complete our courses, which I think are very important, is we have free resume services. After you complete the courses, we'll redo your resume, gear it towards a career in the sport you're interested in, depending on what course you take. We have a lot of people have talked about networking in the chat and things like that. We have a huge network. So what's great about that is now teams come to us. Maikel mentioned the Coachella soccer conference get together, but we do those for all the major sports. So we've been in business for over 25 years. We have a very good name in the business. So what's nice is now teams come to us and say, we're looking for a person in this position, whatever it may be. Please send this position to all the graduates of X course, you know. So then we post that. We have an alumni LinkedIn page that we will post those positions, and our graduates get the chance to apply for those positions before they go to the public, which is a huge deal, because what our courses do for you, and this is what I always tell people, the most important thing is it's great to have several masters or a bachelor's. That's great. Education is always positive. But what our courses do for you is get things on your resume that teams are looking for on that resume to bring you in for the interview process. Because it's great to send a resume with all your education to a team and say, I'm really passionate about LA Galaxy. I love the club. I followed it forever. I would love to work with you guys. But what are you bringing to the table? Like, resumes like that just go into the trash. When they see something on your resume that you're actually bringing something to the table, you know, analytics, you know, scouting, you know, and I'll get into the agent courses, they're a little bit different, but when you have something on your resume and you're actually bringing something to the table, you are way more likely to get into that interview process. And then it's just up to selling yourself. The positions are there. A lot of people think it's so hard to get into sports and only players can get ex-players can get certain jobs and things like that. Absolutely not true anymore. Absolutely not true. You just need to know the certain technologies and software that they're using in the major sports. And if you have that on your resume, you're going to get called for the interview process. So I think that is a huge thing that our courses do for you, is it takes your resume from out of the trash and into the interview process, which not a lot of people can say. And when I talk about the agent courses, whether it's NIL or soccer agent, I mean, what those do for you, and like was mentioned earlier with Lynn and Maikel, is that after you graduate from those courses, you are eligible to become part of our agent advisor program. And you get a commission split on any professional contract that we bring into the agency. You get a 40% commission split. So for me, as soon as I took the athlete management course, it took me a year to get the player into rookie camp. Unfortunately, he was an outside linebacker and he came in underweight and had to work out at safety. So he didn't make the team. My next year, I got a little player, Jace Billingsley, out of Eastern Oregon University. No one had a clue who he was. He went to the Nevada Pro Day back when they had Colin Kaepernick, and he turned heads because he ran a 4.340. And Jace had a career of 5 years in the NFL. And right away, from my commission split, I paid off that course, no problem. So for the agent courses, to be able to get done with the course and start co-representing players with our certified agents, you can't do that anywhere else. And not only that, but you get continued mentorship from Maikel or myself, because Maikel's done all soccer and he's also done a lot of individual sports. Maikel didn't get into all of his background, but the guy has done and represented so many different types of individual sports. All the way, he had guys that were hired that were deep sea divers that participated in the movie Avatar and Avatar 2. So the guy knows not only soccer, but all the other, he had a guy that was in sailing. I mean, Maikel was pretty humble, but the guy is unreal when it comes to what he's capable and does for this company and for his students. So you get continued mentorship and you're a lifelong alumni. Like Dr. Lashbrook mentioned, he has a Sunday morning chat. If you're an alumni, you have access to that until forever, and you know, for as long as you want. And also Our alumni get discounts off all the conferences we hold. We, like I mentioned, we hold several conferences at all the major sporting events. And then you get discounts off your second courses. And then we have advanced certificate programs, because what I always tell a lot of my students and possible, people that are going to take a course, I ended up taking football, GM, and scouting because after I went to my first pro day, so in American football, they have pro days, and I started talking to scouts because networking is key, and I wanted to get as many scouts and coaches in my phone as possible. So I pass out business cards. So we make business cards for you when you join the Agent Advisor program. You get some hats like this. You can get a pullover like this. And they were talking to me about the grading scale and what type of grade they had on players and my thoughts on maybe what type of grade I would have. And then I understood that maybe I'm a little over my head. I need to take the scouting course. So I took football, GM, and scouting. So I understood when I would go to market my players, I could talk back to these scouts and disagree with them. So I like the multiple course strategy for the simple fact that you make yourself more marketable for different positions within the team, because at the end of the day, you're looking to get your foot in the door. And once you get your foot in the door, you can move into different areas, So, but I think for all the agent courses, it's awesome that you get the continued mentorship. And I would always suggest anyone that took any of the agent courses, I would highly suggest taking the scouting course of the sport that you want to be interested in, because when it comes to setting up player profiles and marketing your players, the more you know about scouting and what scouts are looking for in a player, the better you are as an agent to market your players. So those are some things. We also have, like I said, the free resume services. The teams come to us. We have a job links area that everyone has access to, where we post jobs that are available, and you just need to send in your resume that we've already redone for you. The LinkedIn alumni page. And then also you can get college credits for our courses. So you can get up to 6 college credits. They're elective credits. So if you take 3 courses, you can get up to 6 credits. You can get 2 per course. And we have a great student services department. Nick helps out in that area. And it's basically a general enrollment into Fort Hays State. Once you enroll there as a non-graduate degree student, then Fort Hays State can then transfer those credits to whatever school you would want those to be transferred to, which is huge too. We also have a partnership with CUC. I'm so used to calling it CUC, I'm sorry, but Concordia University of Chicago, for a master's program and also a doctoral program, whether it's an EDD or a PhD. And they also have an MBA. A lot of agents, when it comes to American football, to qualify to take the NFLPA exam, you have to have a master's. We have a master's in sports leadership that for a master's degree from a university like that to be under $12,000 is unbelievable. It's one of the cheapest master's programs there is. And through CUC, you can't apply for financial aid. And from what I've been told and what I know, everyone that applies for financial aid for the master's or doctoral program will receive financial aid. For our courses, we have payment plan systems. If you're in an area, I believe Kerry said he was from one of the islands, Trinidad and Tobago, maybe? Antigua. We have economic discounts for countries that aren't as strong as the American dollar bill is, which I don't know where it's really at right now, but we help you out if you're in a economically challenged country with an economic discount as well. And then we do have the payment plans available so that you can spread those payments out. And we have career advisors like myself that will work with you on that. Because at the end of the day, we understand life happens. So if something comes up and something financially happens to where you're struggling to make the payment on the date it's supposed to be made, give us a call. We'll push it back. week, 2 weeks, whatever it takes to help you out with that situation. So those are the things we have to offer. And I cannot stress enough about just getting something on your resume that teams are looking for other than all your education, whether it's knowing software, whether it's knowing how to do scouting reports. Getting things like that on your resume is what's going to get you hired into the world of sports, no matter what sport it is. If anyone has questions for me, I'd love to take them. Nick, do you have anything else to add?
No, you pretty sum it up. It's all about like everyone has a different path in the career of sports. Some people play their way, and that's how they get a job into sports. You know, there's no one size fits all model. And what we do as a company is we started with Dr. Lashberg. Well, he got mentored on how to become an agent, and so he was like, "Well, I got really lucky to find someone that was willing to mentor me." This isn't a resource that's incredibly available to a majority of people. And that's why we have an online system, because anyone in the world can take our courses. You know, we understand you guys have day jobs, you guys have a family you need to take care of. And it could be really scary to be able to take a leap of faith and totally pivot away from what you're used to and accustomed to. So that's why we have this online flexible system for you guys as well. And, you know, Dr. Loshberg always talks about, you know, it's important to pivot if the career allows it to, not being able to be like, I'm an agent, I have to stay there, or I'm a scout, I need to stay here. But if there was an opportunity that seemed to be a better fit for someone, then take that step and, you know, be able to have that resource in the Rolodex library, because like you said, it will be beneficial to you. Looks like we got a question from Carrie. Carrie, come on.
Yes. I'm interested in becoming part of the agent mentorship program. How do I go about?
Yes, Carrie, I believe I was your career advisor back in 2018 when you took the soccer agent course.
Yeah.
So what I can do, well, Maikel said he is going to shoot you an email. Why don't you have that conversation? And then I'll follow up about joining the agent advisor program.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome. Any other questions from anyone? Deep, come on. I'm surprised you don't have a question, buddy. Deep. All right. Oh, it looks like we have Saint.
Oh yeah, Adam, how's it going?
Let's go to Deep first. Hey, Deep, how are you?
Good. Were you talking about me? I'm just at the Leaf right now, and there's checking all these. I don't know what's wrong with our United States. It's been very sad news last 2 days. So
we don't need to talk about it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's something besides that. But yeah, I just had a soccer player who plays in Luxembourg, and he said I tried to get him to join with SMWW, but he said that he had signed up with a previous sports agent, and he doesn't like agents at this time, so he just wanted to stay cool with me. But there's like prospects like that happen to me sometimes. But then on the other hand, through I'm working on the UFL football players, so those are going well. And then I'm recruiting right now for you guys for Penn State, UCLA. But yeah, I'm working on those things today. But I just want to say, like, it's a good experience. Just I tell advice to everybody is just jump into it and then try to do the best you can through marketing and all the different aspects that SMWW helps you with.
And Deep, thank you for that. And Deep is he comes into my Zoom calls every Wednesday. Unfortunately, I'm not having it tonight because I'm in here, but I love doing them. Deep's one of my regulars, and he's been a successful agent advisor, represents multiple sports. And he also ended up getting NFLPA certified. He took our NFLPA prep course. We have a prep course if you're going to take the NFLPA exam. And also we have a prep course if you're going to take the FIFA exam. The FIFA exam only happens once a year, and that happens at the end of June, I believe.
Around that time, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're planning eventually to take the FIFA test,
yeah.
We have a prep course for that. But I encourage you all, Maikel's course with the soccer agent course, you can still do the co-representation right after, so you don't have to wait until next year to get the FIFA exam under your belt. You can start working as an agent right away, get some experience. And then if you decide to get FIFA certified on your own and you still want to stay with the agency, you're still able to. And you'll get a higher commission split. So we love working with people, and let's go to Saint.
Yes, I am Saint Eloy. I'm from Haiti. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, but because I'm in a free prison right now, because Haiti has a lot of problem of insecurity, I already passed the FIFA exam. Now I don't know which course to take to get more experience in order to sell players or to place players in the European continent or any other countries.
So you already passed the FIFA exam? Is that what I heard?
Yes, last year I passed in 2024.
Okay, so I would take the soccer agent course with Maikel, because Maikel, as you heard his background, played over in Europe, then played in the States for LA Galaxy. He's well connected to teams and in Europe and here in the States, and we have several agent advisors, and Maikel represents several soccer players. I believe right now that Soccer Agency is representing around 26 players worldwide. So whether it's a player from Haiti, a player from Africa, a player from South America, a player from Europe that wants to come to the States, Maikel has connections to all those teams. So after you take the soccer agent course with Maikel, his Rolodex or his black book of phone numbers to all those teams becomes, he helps you. And those connections become your connections, which so it's nice that you passed the FIFA exam. Congratulations. But that's the hard thing. Now you passed, and it's like, okay, how do I find prospects? How do I go about? Go ahead.
No, I said after passing the exam, placing players in is another experience, is another course. So that's why I can't get, because when you're in Haiti, you can't really reach other countries because of the situation I'm living now.
Sure. I understand. And you're in a little bit different situation, but I still think that doing the co-representation with Maikel, if you have guys that are able to play professional soccer, doesn't mean that you can't send those players to Maikel and then he can't reach out to those countries on your behalf. So
thank you.
There's ways around it.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Well, any other questions? I don't see any.
Yeah. Oh, we got Luis again.
Hi, I see that that there is the course on analytics, since I'm very involved with using big data and everything. How I see that you have with Daniel, someone who's worked before with Manchester. How you said it's important to help to take courses and help you out to involve with other making connections. Tell me something more about this course, because it's really, since I'm getting interested in that and I'm getting very involved in analytics. So tell me more about all the information, what it's about, how it's helping out me or others who wants to get involved in this world of big data right now.
Yes, Nick might have to help me out a little bit on this one, because like I mentioned, I do all the other sports other than soccer. But when it comes to the analytics course, instructor is amazing. Everyone that she started, last course is the first time as an instructor for the soccer analytics, Nick? I believe so.
Correct. Yeah, we actually did a recent doc talk with her as well. So if you go into the same way you registered for this doc talk, if you scroll slightly down to the 2025 section, you can see her picture on there. And if you click on that, you'll be sent a recording of it as well. So you can get a little bit to hear a little bit more from her, out of her, her voice that way. But like you talked about, it's like, so why would you need this soccer analytics course, right? So like, how could it be beneficial for you? So I mean, I can tell you the 8-week breakdown. So like the first week, they're going to talk about how is soccer analytics going to be used today, which is very crucial. Like, it's one thing to know the data. It's another thing, how can you apply it? Now, how to apply it comes with what tools to use and technologies, and that's what comes into week 2. Now, Now you know how to understand, you have a good understanding of the data and you have a good understanding of the tools used. Now, how does each individual player use the data for the benefit? How does it identify the weaknesses? How does it identify their strengths? Does it change the playing style? Does it change the different formations in which each club uses? And that's kind of that sort of thing. In week 4, they talk about that more, the more, the team performance analysis format. How does it change their tactics? Do they change it? Is it working? When against X amount of, different formations, what do you have to do in order to counter that? And, it goes through all that. And then, it's not just about understanding data, but there's a lot of advanced representation interpretation because, yeah, go on.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, and Luis, me personally, I think having analytics on your resume and knowing all the different softwares and technology that they're using in analytics is so important because it's something that really sticks out on a resume because no one else knows those things and they don't know how to use them. So if you can put on your resume that you know all the different softwares and technology and actually use them, that will stand out right away. And analytics is only growing in all sports.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's something called like Instat that she uses.
Yeah,
And
Instat, I know.
so, and like for those who aren't familiar, it's basically a very similar to what sabermetrics is to baseball. And and for those who are familiar, like baseball is able to take all these different data points and evaluate this player can be really good because of this, this, and this. It's not something that's necessarily seeable by the eye, or it's stuff that like, your gut tells you he's a good player, but there's like that intuition aspect for it that gets tangible reasoning to why that is. So Instat goes into that with like expected goals and all those other different metrics for it. And Daniel does a really good job of explaining it and how it can be beneficial for you as well.
Yeah, I know because I know Instant is a great resources to you to take out data, but there's also StatsBomb and Opta. There's other two big data providers who can help you to all the metrics and all the necessities that the player wants for every post-match game or the next game, from using it against the rival. So yeah, and Instant is a good provider.
Great. Check out that doc talk that we had with Danielle previously and just download it and listen to it and you'll get tons of information. Let's go to Whitney and then I'm going to have to wrap things up.
Hi, yes. I know we're talking about soccer, but I kind of was interested in something you said. You talked about the NFLPA prep course and the FIFA prep course. Do you guys have a prep course for the NBA PA?
Yeah,
NBPA?
that one's labeled the basketball agent course. And what's really cool if you're interested in basketball is that one's taught by Brett Canis, who is MBPA certified. And also Jan, who has his own agency over in Europe. So not only are you learning about the NBA, the G League, the TBL, and some of the leagues here in the States, but you're also learning about all the opportunities overseas. And then during that course, since Brett has taken the MBPA exam, he does help you out on what you're going to see on it, what you should be studying for, and how to go about passing it. So he will give out that information in the basketball agent course.
Okay. And then the athlete management certificate, you don't need a law degree for it, right?
No, that's where you can do the co-representation. And if you're interested in representing multiple sports. So like when I first started, I took athlete management because I didn't know, I love all sports. I like soccer, but I don't watch it as much as a lot of the other sports. So I didn't know what sport I was going to represent. So I represented an NBA player. So we go back to connections and networking. I graduated from the University of Wisconsin, Green Bay. They had a player on their team by the name of Kiefer Sykes, but they also had two other players that had overseas potential. So Brett met me up in Green Bay, and we recruited a player by the name of Alfonso McKinney. And Alfonso we brought him to exposure camps in Las Vegas, which is where we hold our conference during the NBA Summer League for basketball. And Al went to an exposure camp, got 2 different offers, one in Portugal and one in Luxembourg. We decided to go with Luxembourg, and then played there, came back, went to Mexico, helped win their highest leagues championship with the team. Then he went over to China and played in a 3-on-3 basketball tournament where Randy Brown was the coach of it, who at the time was coaching the Bulls. They won the gold medal. Al was originally from Chicago. Randy asked him to try out for the Windy City Bulls and played in the G League for 2 years, won the dunk contest his rookie year that the G League has, and then signed a contract with the Lakers. So everyone has a different journey. And Al, it took him a little bit longer, but then Al was in the NBA and was in the NBA. He went from he was with the Lakers. He actually has a championship ring.
Right.
Went from the Lakers to the Cavs and had a 5-year NBA career. So what's nice about the athlete management course is if you don't really know for sure what sport you want to represent, that's a great one to take because you can represent all sports. So when it comes to the agent courses, if you don't really know what sport you might want to represent, if it's one of the 4 major American sports, such as baseball, basketball, football, and hockey, that's a great one to take. Soccer is a whole different animal because you have the work permits, visas, the transfer portals, the academies. So if you're just interested in representing soccer, I would definitely take the soccer agent course. But if you don't know for sure, and you might want to do basketball or you might want to do American football, I would do the athlete management course. And then NIL is huge. I think the NIL course is awesome as well if you're in the States. And then also we have an athlete marketing and branding course so that once you start getting players, or if you are into sports like MMA or boxing, things like that, the athlete marketing and branding course also teaches you not only how to get endorsement deals and marketing deals for all the other sports, but all those individual sports. It's all about getting them marketing endorsement deals so they can focus on their training, whether it's golf, tennis, like I mentioned, fighting, any sort of fighting. So, I mean, like we have great courses and they can help you go in event. Like we will help you figure out a direction.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. You ready to wrap things up, Nick?
Yeah, sounds good. Well, thank you everybody. Yeah, thank you everybody for coming out to this most recent Doc Talk. We have more coming out in the future. If you have any suggestions of any topics you would like to hear, feel free to reach out. I'll be sending an email here in the next couple days or so, potentially next week, depending on how long it takes for the video to render with the recording of it so you can review it afterwards. With that being said, thank you again, Adam, for coming up, and then thank you, Maikel and Dr. Lashberg as well. So. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and just feel free to give the office a call or shoot us an email if you have any questions. We're here to help you guys get paid for your passion. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
Hey, Adam, I'll be looking out for that email.
Okay, yeah. Let me know. I'll remind Maikel tomorrow, and we'll help you out, Carrie.
Okay, no problem.
All right. Thank you, everyone.